And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at a game called Stratos. Guide your tribe to prosperity in an ever-changing landscape. Welcome to the world of Stratos. Stratos is a game in which you start out as a peasant and you start harvesting resources. You get those resources, you build armies, you go and conquer other people, you find magical spells and artifacts. It sounds really intriguing. It doesn't look nearly as intriguing, but it does have like a resource collection symbols, and there is a ton of pieces in the box. Well, here they are. There are different scenarios that you can pick in the book. Then you can pick like a map on how you're going to play with these scenarios, and then you build the scenario. Honestly, they could have just made these boards, maybe, I don't know, there's a better way, but these boards sit here and you put the tiles in them, and the tiles have numbers on the other side, or 1 or 2, which matters over the course of the game. Each player is going to start with a peasant, and there's a possibility for them to get more different characters as the game goes by. The peasant can be upgraded into a cultivator. You can have a mage who upgrades to a sorcerer, a soldier who upgrades to a knight, an explorer who upgrades to a swashbuckler, and an archer who upgrades to a marksman. And you can have different characters. So what players are going to do on their turn is they have 2 actions, and they're going to be using these actions to get points. Now, as the game goes by, if you have 1 of every resource, you can turn it in for a horde point. That's worth 1 point. When you kill another person's character, you get a defeat. That's worth a point. There are many different cards in the game that are worth 1 point each. If you have promoted everybody, you get an extra 2 points, and then there's certain spots on the board that can give you points. So you're trying to get points various ways. So what actions can you do? Well, if you're on a spot, you can take the resource of that spot. You take that resource and put it in front of you, and you're going to go to different spots and get the resources that you need, because you're going to use these resources to buy or upgrade. So for example, if I want another peasant, I need a wood and 2 of the yellow bags. If I want a mage, I'm going to need 2 bags of spices and then this bag here. And so I'm going to need these, and if I want to upgrade that character, I can do the same thing. I just pay it again, and this will change what their skills are. Now the peasant can harvest more than just 1 when he's on a spot. He can roll a 4-sided die, and if he rolls a 1, he gets 1 of that kind, 2, 3, but if he rolls a 4, like I just did, he gets nothing. So that's his special ability. Explorers have the ability to look underneath their tiles and find treasures. They turn it over, and if there is a number on that tile, they can draw from the land exploration deck that many cards. And sometimes these cards are bad, they're traps that will hurt you, and sometimes they're good treasures. Eventually, if you upgrade your explorer, you can go into the lagoon where there's better treasures and fewer traps, just different things, and sometimes these will give you extra items. And in fact, you can find some of these items and stick them on your characters. You're going to do this a lot. If your character upgrades, you'll stick a promotion on that character. If you have some kind of item, you'll put it there. If you take hit points, you put them there. If you decide to defend, that's an action you can take to help you lose fewer hit points. You'll put them on your character as the game goes by. A soldier and an archer can be used to attack other players. So the soldier and the archer, they can attack. They have different ranges, and they're going to roll a d4 or d6. That's how much damage they do. Although if they roll a 6 or they roll a 4, they will miss. Although when they upgrade, they no longer miss. Hooray for that sort of thing. The number that they roll is how many hit points they do to your opponent. You kill your opponent, you get you'll get some extra things, some points. The mage can cast mage spells, and they're going to be able to draw spell cards on the board and get more spells, especially when they upgrade to a sorcerer. And whenever they cast the spell, finally, for whatever it does, like for example, this mage spell is a meteor. You can pick someone else to lose d6 health, and then when you cast it, you will get an extra victory point. So hooray! And that's basically the whole game. You're going to be moving around, defending, maybe discovering. Sometimes there's different tiles that will promote you automatically, or if you hold them, you get a point. Fighting the other characters. First person to get 10 points is the winner. There are too many problems with this game, but I'll break them down for you. First of all, luck. What? Luck? Crazy amounts of luck. whoever made this combat system, I mean, it's just like, really? You roll a d6 and that's how much damage you do to the opponent? So I run up and I roll a 1, boom, and then you roll a 6, and knock me out? What? That's really lucky. Especially since when you knock out my guy, I then have to build another one. I then have to, and you get a victory point out of the deal. And any strategy I was going to do, the fighting strategy in this game, a really bad idea to do it. Fighting is extremely random, but that's not the only randomness. When you explore and find things, and I found a place, I draw 2 cards, and they're both great. Oh, you found the trap that took hit points off your character, ha ha ha. And the game is just full of luck like that. The harvesting resources. So at the beginning, you have a peasant. You're standing on a spot. Should you take 1 resource? Move, take 1 resource? Okay. You can roll a d4 and get more resources. Great. I roll a 3. I get 3 resources. I'm really a heads up now. I mean, next turn I can get some more resources and I can build a character next turn. You roll a 4. You get nothing. And you say, well, you don't have to roll the die. You can just simply not roll and take 1 resource. Yeah, but if you roll the die and get 3 resources, I can't just take 1 because you have 3 times the amount of stuff I have. And you can think that's not a big deal, but it is. So luck, problem number 1. Problem number 2 is fiddly little components. Anybody who thinks sticking little tiny things here to show like weapons you have, what? And I'm looking at it, the hit points, oh, I lost 2 more hit points. Let me take out the 8. There's a 6. Let me stick the 6 on. What? And then, so that's really problematic. Third, the game just looks blah. The art is not well done. Sorry to the artist. Not well done. The whole game just looks like a Kickstarter game. And it doesn't look very professional. 4, the game itself doesn't have any kind of forward motion to it. You kind of get some resources, build characters. Now, should we fight? No, well, fighting's random. Should we explore? Sure. Yeah, and there's like, hey, it's a sandbox game. Do what you want, and you do what you want, but there's no real impetus to go and do anything of any value. There's no storyline. There's nothing there. It's kind of just move around. Movement is slow. You know, if a guy is coming forward to attack you, it's like, I'm gonna get you very soon. You see the guy coming. I don't like attacks that are that slow. You know, it should be like, I'm moving in position and then we attack. And no, it's like, I'm going to get you. And it reminds me of that scene, you know, where the steamroller, get out of the way. It just, So, you say, Vasel, what do you like? Well, I like the sense of exploration. I like flipping tiles over to find what's underneath them. I like going through the card decks and finding unique artifacts. And I would like it more if it wasn't so wildly random and I might find some amazing stuff and you find terrible stuff. And the game, the free-for-all game is really bad. Everyone's just like hitting each other and rolling dice and seeing what happens. And when it's over, the one person who wins, you're like, yay. Fortunately, and the game is not too long either. The thing is, I think Stratos has some good ideas. I like getting the different resources off the different lands. I like building the different characters and moving around. And I like upgrading the characters where their abilities are better. But that is where it just falls apart. It really feels like some good ideas. They play tested it a few times, and then they said, yeah, it's good enough. And they published it, and it's not good enough. It is not good enough. This is an unfinished product. Did no one in playtesting say, this is fiddly, these pieces aren't going to work? Did no one say, this combat system is frankly stupid? We got to make a better one. And that kind of boggles my mind that those things did not happen. And because of that, this is a game that by the time I've reviewed it, I've had it for a while, it's already not being talked about anywhere. And it's not going to be. This game's going to disappear very quickly because it just doesn't have that, woo, that was fun, let's play it again. It's not here.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.